Hi, welcome to CineMunn Podcast. We are back. It's been a little bit since we've been on the show, and we felt it necessary this weekend, since Star Wars had just come out, to come back and do a new show. I'm joined once again with Tommy. He's not from Krypton, but he's from DC Metropolis.
DC Metropolis, hell
DC
yeah.
Metropolis.
Yep.
And our ever-Chino friend, Wiki. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing good.
Bullshit. With your damn carne asada fries. He brings food here when Tommy's got lasagna in the oven. I've just eaten, and he walks in with carne asada fries. You bastard.
Oh yeah.
Jerk. Alright, well, obviously...
I'd get carne asada fries.
You what?
No, I would get carne asada fries.
Right?
But, yeah.
Well, too late.
I know.
Lasagna's in the oven. Well, obviously, a small independent film came out this weekend by the title of Star Wars The Force Awakens.
Just a small one.
Just a small one. I mean, very minuscule, low budget, no name actors. This brand new Jewish director. Not Spielberg, it's some other guy. Abraham or something.
Abraham.
Obviously, Star Wars Force Awakens is opened, and we have all seen it, which is the best part of this.
I would figure that'd be pretty... I wouldn't say...
Obvious?
For this... Obvious, yes, of course, because we're doing this, but it's just... For many kind of out there in the YouTube land would say it's like majority of people have seen Star Wars already.
You'd hope so, but actually I have a couple friends who haven't, who have been holding out. Not holding out, but waiting for the day off or for the hype to die down.
Well, yeah, I mean, the other thing too, it's the holiday season. You got people running around, going to stores. You're talking about movie theaters. Some of these are in malls, so you have to find probably theater offshoot in its own area. Yeah, right. Usually theaters are kind of around here in the San Diego area or within the malls and stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a pain in the ass, but it still works. I'm amazed I actually got in. I got to see it on Friday. And I was amazed I actually got a show. Same with me.
Got in on Friday. And there's the theater that, it's the same theater that you went to, but I'm just, I mean, there were shows sold out, but we ended up going and seeing the 3D version, which, I mean, you still got to see the whole movie. It wasn't too bad, the 3D, but it was not necessary whatsoever.
No 3D is necessary.
The 3D hype is just a bunch of bullcrap.
It died like 2 years ago. It just needs to go away.
Yeah.
And Wiki decided to help the international box office by seeing it in Mexico.
Hell yeah! Thursday at 3:45, Tijuana. Sinopolis. You gotta do it.
That's why he goes to Mexico.
The best time.
Yeah.
Yeah. You sick bastard. But yeah, so we've got a couple friends also who live down there and like to go see movies early and spoil them for us because they are bastards and to be strung up by their Buster Browns.
So you saw it. Obviously, you had the most. How long were you anticipating
Star Wars?
I mean, that's before even they announced it. If you anticipated they're going to be,
I had a feeling once Disney announced the purchase of Lucasfilm. You had to know that they didn't buy it just to say we have it. They bought it with the intent of making more movies.
I had a suspicion there. I was like, because I know there was talks about the Indiana Jones trying to revive that. However, it was also recent that Steven Spielberg is like, I'm not getting behind the camera of any future Indiana Jones films because Harrison Ford, but I believe Harrison Ford said he's done. I'm not.
Harrison Ford is still very much. If the script is good, if he likes where they're going with it, he will do it. He is still... Harrison Ford loves the character of Indiana Jones, I think, more than he loves Han Solo. And that's fairly adamant from his remarks when he did it Empire Strikes Back. He wanted Han Solo killed off in that film.
Yeah.
By the way, spoilers. We will be going into the spoilers of this film. We will be
talking a little late, isn't it?
No, because we haven't said shit.
You did?
No, I'm talking about Empire Strikes Back. I don't know where you're going with this. Don't look at me like that.
All right.
So yes, there are spoilers in the show. If you do not want the movie spoiled, feel free to bookmark us and come back after you watch the movie. You can listen to us on the way home, actually, from the theater.
Yep. While
yelling your thoughts and complaints at us and how we're idiots and didn't see this or that in the film. That's fun, too, because we can't hear you.
But, I mean, so how long have you two been kind of... Disney purchased the rights, but did you think that they were going to just do Star Wars within a year, or did you think they might have waited a little bit?
I figured they would wait a little, which they kind of did. They probably waited about a good year after the purchase before they announced the film. And I remember it's been just over a year now since the first trailer came out. It was last November that first trailer dropped, that teaser dropped.
Yeah.
And then we didn't see another one again until March, and we finally got our last one in, I think it was April or May. And for me, it was like, I was excited to see it, but part of that kind of feeling of we got burned on the last 3 films, to where, we had so many, wow, really? We had so many high expectations for it, that hearing they're going to do another one is like, let's just see where it goes.
I'm just thinking...
at least for me, that's what it was for me.
Well, because I remember when we saw that teaser trailer in the bar. We actually played it because you showed it to me, and
I'm not really... bar or barn?
Bar.
Yeah, we were at a bar.
It's like, you were at a barn doing what?
Yeah, I don't really follow movie trends until they actually announce it, right?
Yeah.
And so he had seen the teaser, and he showed it to me, and then his reaction was, it's not really a trailer. But he was still...
That was my thing, too.
He was still excited about me. I saw it, I was like, hell yeah!
Another Star Wars. I don't know if it's the alcohol or it's the... I'm not sure which.
But, yeah, huge Star Wars fan. I always followed it when I was a kid. Like, I was introduced to it.
He has a poster of Darth Vader above his bed that he says goodnight to.
The heavy breathing.
We thought he was asthmatic. Turns out he was just excited.
Yeah.
I mean, like, for me, it was always very cautious acceptance. I was very like, okay, it's Star Wars, but I'm gonna tiptoe to this. And even, I'm amazed myself that I saw it opening weekend.
Yeah.
Because for a long time, once they announced the pre-sale of the tickets and everything like that, I'm like, you're hearing about Fandango and AMC all crashing, but sites are crashing because everyone's on there buying movie tickets for midnight shows and for Friday and Saturday. For the whole weekend was basically, quote-unquote, sold out already. I was like, all right, I'm not going to see this on opening weekend.
That was my thoughts, too.
Within the last 48 hours, hearing people talk about it, and on the reviews that were coming out of LA and out of Hollywood Reporter and Variety, and from the premieres, and people going, just hearing that they just kind of fell in love again with the franchise, and everything that felt wrong with the prequels, and everything that they grew up loving about the original films, was kind of back. For the most part, that they're saying, this is back. Star Wars is back.
That's one of the biggest things I would say, is like you said, yeah, it feels like the originals, and I'll admit, it feels like I was getting back into watching the old classics, episodes 4, 5, and 6, and going through that story arc, not going into the whole exaggerated storytelling of episodes. Well, the politics, I couldn't even stay awake during that
you fell asleep in
I fell asleep, yeah. Well, I remember my VHS copy of Phantom Menace. Yeah. I fell asleep in that movie. It was just so damn boring. I was a kid. I was a little fascinated with the whole imagination thing. But when it came to that movie, as soon as politics started going, I was out within minutes. I was laying down watching the movie, and next thing I know, I woke up watching the credits. So,
oh wow,
yeah, I slept through the whole
thing because we all watched the last trailer and we compared it to like. Batman versus Superman, and both of you guys were like, "Oh yeah, Batman, Superman." And you were like, "Not really for Star Wars." I was like, "Fuck you guys!"
It's the whole thing. Look, I mean, yeah, you can be a fan, you can be all that, but you do have to say, is like, which trailer does have the most?
Which one grabbed you and kind of held you?
Right, exactly, and
like a lover, but no.
I mean, Star Wars has been anticipated, but my thing is, it's like, I know some people are going to pin me for this, but it's like, I kind of feel like I've grown up from Star Wars.
That is true. I mean,
because I am a gamer, and some listeners might have heard this game before, called Mass Effect. There is one thing I was telling you is that there's exaggerated storytelling, and then there's specific storytelling. Mass Effect takes the exaggerated kind of realm of Star Wars, where you've got all these different alien races, like kind of living, and but one thing Mass Effect does is that it goes into all their I guess you would say their specifics. Like these characters are very smart. The characters are very intelligent. Star Wars goes into that, not really much in the films. Maybe if you read a book or a comic, which of course
it's also different media though, because like video games, you're sitting down and you're playing hours.
You're a little more involved, I think.
A movie, you're watching it. You're just enjoying it.
No, I know. They don't have the time.
They have a cutoff time, too, because little kids will be watching this. After like 2.5 hours, your little kids are going to be like...
nodding off.
Like,
Well, it's
holding
not freaking
attention.
politics. You're still describing a character. Now, one thing I'm going to go to, and you knew this argument was coming up, Lord of the Rings.
Here we go.
Lord of the Rings, Two Towers. Because this is one thing, as you mentioned, spoilers, Han Solo. How long was the Millennium Falcon in the junkyard? How long was it out of operation?
They had said years.
I recall hearing 63, 64 in the movie.
I don't think so.
Well, it was for a while, but from what I heard. And, yeah, that kind of gives me, it's like, so how old is...
Well, Han Solo, if you really,
Luke Skywalker now.
We can step back and say, well, these characters are humans, but really they're humanoid because Han Solo is not necessarily classified as a human. He's a Corellian.
At the same time, though, I'm giving, like you said, there's two ways to look at movies. There's specifics, and then there is exaggerated. To me, Star Wars, I'm looking at it as exaggerated, and it's.
We should look at almost any movie as exaggerated.
True.
Even movies that are based off of like historical fact, like Lincoln, like JFK, like Nixon.
Yeah.
You can look at those. Those are based off of historical truth, but they're still exaggerated.
They're still
for
exaggerated,
dramatic effect.
right? But my thing is that they're still trying to tie in that basic concept of this is in relevance to the life you live in. Some movies they give off that tone. They give off that.
Star Wars.
I'm saying
it
Star
happens
Wars,
a long time ago in the galaxy.
I'm saying Star Wars is exaggerated. That's why I'm giving it that. Like, okay, but I recall hearing in the movie some things where I'm kind of like, so you're just going to flow with it, and I was kind of like, hey, why not? Yeah, it's entertaining. I'm not.
Oh, it's extremely.
I'm not complaining that Star Wars is entertaining. It's a very good classic piece. Episode 7, it's very good at keeping the classic pace, the momentum, and the feel. Yeah, like I was mentioning earlier, it's like kind of going through the saga of 4, 5, and 6, and just to me, it was a good enough balance of storytelling and action. Not one did not drown out the other. I'm pretty sure some that went to go see it, they were hoping to see a bit more, plane fights or your starfighter jets and stuff like that. But what type
of Star Wars fan are you?
They had enough in the film to keep me entertained, and not to say like, hey, this is kind of like done and over with. Like an action sequence, maybe it goes on for like 20 minutes. Long. Like you got that exaggerated Arnold Schwarzenegger, like you gotta hop and but they didn't really do that in this movie, which was good. It got back to the story. It got back to kind of moving forward and not just stuck in one area of the movie. It had a good flow to me.
Wonderful. And I know with J.J. Abrams being one of the co-writers of the film as well as the director, he has stated, even back when he did Star Trek, he had stated that he was always more of a Star Wars kid growing up. I was more of a Star Wars fan, and he brought that to Star Trek when he did Star Trek in 2009. He brought that kind of Star Wars feel, that more action,
he did.
More character, and obviously he brought that to this film itself, Episode 7, and you could really feel love. There was a lot of love that went into this movie, into the way it was made, into his want to go back to on-location shooting, practical sets, practical effects, as much done in camera as possible, and he, almost to the point of it stood out sometimes. Like you could there's a nice little shot of your main character Rey coming by on her speeder and his little bird kind of pecking at some type of little piece of metal. I'm just sitting there going, that's a puppet.
But
not like to be like, oh, look at that fucking puppet. So
no.
Yes, he really wants to do as much there as possible.
The other thing too, it's kind of an homage. It didn't look as bad as the originals, or I don't know if you want to call it bad, but it wasn't too obvious,
noticeable.
Like you said, you see that now. You watch a movie, and you're like, yes, that's a damn puppet. But it's also kind of like Star Wars was built on practical effects.
Star Wars was built on what you could do at the time.
Again, a lot of people know this, but episodes 4, 5, and 6 was cheesy effects. Even though they had a feeling to them. That's my thing about practical effects over digital. Digital effects sometimes it's just kind of it feels like you're supposed to know it. Practical effects it feels kind of like you have to get a feel for it. You have to kind of grasp that this is the shadowing. See, that's another thing with digital effects too. catch little things. Your eye catches those. You're not thinking about it, but your eye catches
quite
it.
Look right. Yeah.
Right. But I mean, no. This episode 7 had a good balance of the two. I think it was mostly. I wouldn't say mostly practical, but I mean, in the areas where it would be.
I mean, a lot of it. I mean,
like a fully functional BB-8 is something that you would do because you
have no life.
No,
you can't.
You love.
Well, because you can't.
No.
I mean, like, okay, that's a great example right there. BB-8 was probably 80% of that movie. BB-8 was probably a real practical animatronic. For probably, I'd probably say a good 80% of the film. Obviously, when you do stuff like maybe the star battles in the X-Wings, or maybe even him coming downstairs. I don't know. I'm actually still kind of iffy on when he's coming down the stairs, following Rey down in that little basement. If that's the puppet or if that was CG, I'm still not quite sure.
Yeah, true.
I'm still a little, but I mean,
that's not my focus of the film. My thing.
No, but I mean, looking at it from saying, okay, in my head, I know they were saying they want to do as much in camera as they could.
Right.
How much did they really do in camera?
True.
And that being a real set that they did. Was that really the droid itself kind of stepping his way downstairs?
But at the same time, though, I mean, if you can make it look and feel like it's flowing, if it's working... Because, I mean, I've seen some movies where it's like, you know when it's practical, when it's CG, and it's sometimes it bothers you, too. It kind of gets me...
Stick out,
it kind of gets me. It's like... This thing was like all sluggish in this scene, but now all of a sudden it's like...
It's hauling ass.
Yeah, I know, right? And I'm like, wow, what's the big difference? Like, you go back to the cheesy films, like one of them, I'll just bring up really quick, Army of Darkness. There's a scene with the little, I don't know if you want to call them munchkins or the...
Oh, the little kind of evil ashes.
The little evil ashes, yeah. It's, well, when he starts transforming, the other evil ashes growing inside him. You can see the puppet head on him, like, and it's just got an expression. It doesn't
and then also
move or anything.
For other scenes, they did like a split screen where they filmed both sides and they blended them together for one shot.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's not in this day and age. Like the transition between practical and digital is not that bad. No. Back then,
it's getting a lot better.
Yeah,
it's getting a lot better. I mean, you can even point. We were talking about this the other night as far as. When it comes to de-aging, because we talked about when looking at Jeff Bridges in Tron Legacy, how they made him 30 years younger as Clue, and even looking at how they did Michael Douglas in Ant-Man from this summer, when they de-aged him 30 years between old Hank Pym and young Hank Pym for that film, and how much better that process has gotten.
Yeah. So as far as the kind of camera effects, the visual effects, those things go, I was very kind of like, just fascinated with that, just to see all that still coming together and how it can get a bit convincing too. When you see an exaggerated digital effects kind of movie, it really kind of like diverts your interest. You kind of like, oh, that looks stupid as shit. Why am I still watching this? So like, it hurts a film when you have effects that are that. For me and my perspective is that if you see something obviously shitty on screen, it really takes away from the film. I'll take this one doesn't have to deal with digital effects, but I was just throwing it out there as an example. There was a movie that came back out in like 2008. I think it was called Bug. It was about paranoid schizophrenia.
I've seen that.
But in one of the scenes that made it to the final cut, you see the boom mic in the frame, in the shot. Yeah, I was kind of looking at it. I was like, is that, part of the room or something? And the next thing I know, the camera's staying still, but the boom mic actually shakes a little bit. Yeah, I'm like, that's a freaking boom mic in the final film. So when I saw that, I'm like, the whole kind of the magic of the movie, I guess you would say, it was just gone. It was gone. But
it can happen.
Yeah, the effect, and the other thing too. While we're on effects, I was going to say the sound effects in this film does really bring back that nostalgia factor.
It really does. I mean, yeah, when you can hear the hum of the Millennium Falcon or the lightsaber ignite or even the blasters, the X-Wing, the TIE Fighter, the duels.
Yeah,
the duels in this film were really, really. I want to say rough because they were not clean.
Aggressive.
They were very aggressive. There was a lot of passion,
and they weren't exaggerated. That's the thing I didn't like.
Yeah, they weren't overly exaggerated. But I mean, that was more of a necessity, I think, for the prequels. It was that the mindset for those fights was this is the Jedi at their prime when they are at their best, and now when you had the fights in Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, this was someone brand new to it who wasn't properly trained. And going forward into this film, Finn not being properly trained with a lightsaber,
right,
and even Rey not being properly trained with a lightsaber, just going off of basic instinct of protecting yourself and attacking another person.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what a lot of it was. And again, a lot of it, from really character perspective, was passion-driven.
Yeah. And just like, the other thing too is, I know there's a lot of, when you're talking about passion-driven kind of like influences on the film, Kylo Ren's lightsaber, the
that kind of tri-blade.
The tri-blade thing, I was kind of like...
crossbar.
Because I saw people, they photoshopped the heck out of that thing. They made it like a saw blade. They made it look like a
chainsaw.
There was one that they made it look like a Christmas tree, where it's like you got the one branch, and then there's the branches that come out of that, and then branches that come out of those branches. And it's like, what in the
They were making fun of it, but the way they pulled it off in the final cut is really cool and really like descriptive of his personality. Like it honestly is him, because like someone was saying, like, oh, you can't do the hilt like that because it'll make your lightsaber unstable. But if you look at it in the film, it's like wavering and like shaking and stuff. So it isn't a stable lightsaber, which reflects back to his personality because he's not stable.
Right.
You know, he's still drifting between
the light
and good.
Yeah, he's got daddy issues. So
he does, and he resolves them, at least to himself. He resolves those.
Yeah, I will say part of the effects, part of kind of how they did the whole visuals and stuff is I really liked the TIE Fighter X-Wing sequences. Those were really fun. I mean, those really brought back the Star Wars feel. I mean, you can build up the story and all that, but when we were talking about earlier, like anticipation and excitement of the film, that was the excitement for me.
For me, I thought I was playing Battlefront. Like, even Battlefront in 64, playing Rogue Squadron, playing Star Wars Racer, like, that's what it kind of brought back to me, watching some of those, the way they did the TIE Fighter X-Wing aerial battles. And even the attack on Starkiller Base was really, really... And I love that they decided to... And again, paying homage to the original film, they had a lot of the same beats as the original film. And some people say, oh, they just made another Death Star. They even addressed that themselves in the film. Like, here's the Death Star. Here's Starkiller Base, which they take an entire planet and kind of bore out the middle down to the core and make it a weapon out of an entire planet.
Yep.
And that was really
they got
nice.
That's one of the things
kind
they
of
went
original idea with it.
Like I was mentioning, exaggerated specific. That was one thing they got specific about. What I'm talking about, other specifics too, is like what I was talking about age earlier. Just there's things like that when you see a character in a movie sometimes, and you're kind of like, I saw them in the past movie, but how did they get to this one? Or I've seen flashbacks of this character. So the flashbacks I understand, but how is the character able to be their character now? Like, sometimes those explanations are the ones I'm kind of like, they can pass by exaggerated, and I know, you're saying it's on a timeline. You're
not all going to get that, but you're going to get that through if they expand their universe to books, comics,
right?
You know,
video games,
TV shows. That's how you get your expansion.
No, they themselves said all the books, starting with New Dawn and Tarkin, which came out last year, and even with now with this Battlefront, but I think with the next games they're going to be doing with the Star Wars Rebels on Disney. They all tie into this kind of,
but like
this world.
Like they're just going to expand their universe. I think kind of like Marvel, where it ties in whatever. Oh, Legacy. That's where I was going to go. Because Legacy, was it Rogue One? That's the one where they go get the Death Star.
Yeah, that'll be their film for next year.
Yeah, the Death Star.
Yeah, Rogue One. That's right.
So, but they're expanding on their universe on something that we've all heard about, you know, a story that they're like, oh, many, you know, blah, 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 got these plans and it took a great toll. They're going to expand on that and give us a movie to explain that specific story, you know, so they can start doing one-shot movies or, you know, one-shot TV shows just to expand on these characters.
I will say another thing, too. It's like, because you were watching, what was it, Revenge of the Sith. Third, what was the third installment again?
Return of the Jedi?
No, the third. The part 3, episode 3 was Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, like some of the dialogue in that film, some of the.
Oh yeah, I mean George Lucas is not known for his dialogue.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. It's like this is a George Lucas piece, but when it comes to the movie, it's like
power, unlimited power. Oh, help me, Anakin! Don't let him kill me.
It's like the dialogue in episode 7 was actually it stuck to the serious kind of vibe, even though like Finn, his character does portray like kind of the comical kind of like and what I mean by the comical part is that out of all this, even though he's comical, he's relatable. Because if you were stuck in the middle of all this, like even it's like what am I fighting for? What am I doing this for? Why am I doing this? And
every now and then I've heard a slight not complaint, but like, the dialogue was a little kind of modern, and I can see that because when like
it's a modern day film.
Well, no, I get that. I have no problem with it. It's not my complaint. But it's like when he and Poe Dameron escape from the Death Star, and he takes out the first gun. He's like, "Did you see that? Did you see that?"
Oh.
Yeah, I mean that's like.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
See what I'm saying?
Well, like Section 8.
Yeah.
Section 8 speech.
Like,
I hit that.
Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
and not to say like it's supposed to be ethnic or anything like that, or like stereotypical, but it stands out with the way the rest of the dialogue in the film is, with the way in general the world is how they speak, how they talk to each other. When certain lines like that, even just small and minute lines like that, they can stand out sometimes.
Well, the other thing too is like we were discussing this last night, the other day. Even the speech,
from General Hux.
Yeah, even the speech that scene, it looked like, because my thing was, it's like I see him as Hitler talking to a ton of Nazis.
Yeah,
like that's what that's
very much what it was.
It was so iconic, and I mean I'm pretty sure what he was going for. But I'm just saying it's like. How that's what I mean by relatable. When you see these things in films, like an homage to something that's you can relate
real,
to,
it
brings your imagination. It piques your imagination. You get sucked more into the film. Yeah. So,
what do you think of? I'm speaking more about character when we've mentioned Poe Dameron and Finn, but the real lead in this film was actually Rey, from Daisy Ridley, who's a fairly unknown actress now. Yeah. She's an English actress. She's done a few projects here and there, but this is really her first big. On the world stage role, she brought it. I thought
she did. She kept her character a bit minimal. And what I mean is like they didn't give her kind of really complex dialogue or phrases. It's kind of things really simple to follow.
Well, one of the commentaries I heard was basically her first day of shooting. JJ basically told her acting.
So wait, yes. Where did you get this commentary from?
I think one of the interviews.
That's one of the interviews, like IGN or something.
On the late night or something like that. She got interviewed, and she's like, "Yeah, my first day, couple days acting, like JJ just straight up came out and said you suck."
Because the other thing too, what I kind of like when you first see her character, it reminded me of seeing young Anakin for the first time. It reminded me in a little sense because she's not talkative. Mm-hmm. She's very when she'll interact with her own like kind of society, I guess you would say, but and her own self. But when it came to, I mean, just the rest of her interaction in the movie was it was very minimal. It wasn't like she didn't have the leadership role, so she wasn't talking the whole time.
I kind of think that's a character progression, though. She starts out as this scavenger,
quiet scavenger,
who lives by herself,
takes care of herself,
lives by herself in an AT-AT.
Yeah, she lives in one of the walkers, laying there in the sand. And one thing I think about that character that was very telling, which I'm hoping to expand on later in these films as I continue, is there's a scene towards the beginning of the film after she does her first little scavenge in the Star Destroyer, and she's sitting there cleaning parts before she gives them to the junker.
That's right.
She's sitting there cleaning, and she looks across from her, and there's a little old lady doing the same thing, and you can kind of see it in her eyes, in her performance, in her face. If you watch her, you can see Rey saying to herself, "That's not my life.
Right.
That's not where. That's not how I want to be. I don't want to be this person." And I think I'm hoping that really becomes more and more apparent that she was supposed to be more. That she was left there for a reason. She was left on that planet for a reason.
She did have a tell, though.
I think you can see it later on because she's always, when they first started out, she was always, I need to go back to Jakku.
She wants to go back to Jakku, yes.
And then she finally gets it to wherever they meet Ma, right?
Yeah.
And Rey's like, we just need to get the hell out of here, just disappear, and she's like, no, we need to finish our mission. But in the very beginning, it's like, I just need to go back,
Right.
We like, you can take him, whatever, I'll get you wherever we need to go, but I need to go back. So you can start seeing her progress, which I really liked. And the fact that they kept herself, that's my cell phone. Nice. Herself, her character, such a secret, because everyone, for the trailers and teasers.
For the first couple trailers, they were really pushing Finn is the Jedi. Finn is going to be the Jedi. Yeah. The way they were pushing, the way the marketing was, it was always, he had the lightsaber. He was always the main focus of every trailer. He was going to be your lead character, and he was. He was the lead male character for this film. Mm-hmm. But I think overall, for this overall story, it's not his story, it's Rey's story, and he's simply a part of it.
Yeah. The other thing, too, like I was saying, Rey's got to tell. She carries that staff. You wouldn't, for a junker to just, they had one in the beginning, the one that captured the BB-8.
Yeah, when they're trying to steal the BB-8.
When he's trying to steal, he didn't have any weapons, he didn't have anything. He was just passing by on his,
weird ass
little weird ass Ronto with armor on.
But yeah, this donkey.
Wow. But you get a Shrek reference in, folks.
But it's not like he was fit for combat. He did not give that look off. Yeah, he was a small character. He was small in size, but he didn't. I mean, even Yoda, small in size.
Man. Don't look at me and start laughing to yourself. You guys are pricks, you know that?
But what I'm saying is,
I'm not very tall.
Like she played in parts. As you mentioned, the staff, those all kind of gave me a hint. It's like she is going to be more of the warrior instead of just the scavenger. So that was a big tell for me, and it not saying it ruined the film for me, but I already knew a good sequence of the film. That's when I pay attention to the various movies I see. When I see symbolism like that, it already tells me this character is going to be this. Do I know what's going to happen after she becomes, once her strength reaches this level? No, I don't. But that's what I mean. It's broken up in a saga. We don't know how much her character progresses. There is kind of a prediction, as if you've seen the movie, of how far she's going to go, how strong she's going to get.
She's really like a mashup of Han Solo and Luke Skywalker.
She is
one character.
Yeah,
because they show off her ability to think on her feet. She's good with mechanics. She can fly, and my God, that is one of my favorite sequences.
Yeah, that's right. The
film
Millennium Falcon.
Is when
she was a natural at
steal a ship. They're being hunted down by First Order troopers, basically like the new stormtroopers for the new Empire. It's called the First Order under Supreme Leader Snoke, who is a character you really don't see. He's a hologram the whole time. It's like, what the hell is that thing? And then we're figuring out, it's a hologram.
Yeah.
And wonderfully by Andy Serkis. For some people don't like, where's Andy Serkis in the movie? He's Supreme Leader Snoke. Yeah, there you go. And I think he's going to be kind of like the Emperor role for the original trilogy. He's the kind of dark Sith, the Dark Lord on the other end of the spectrum. Who's going to be, because he was the one kind of training Kylo Ren.
Yeah,
showing him the ways of the dark side and how to be better with it.
Well, he seduced
him into it.
Yeah,
that sounds like a pedophile when you say that. Yeah.
Kylo Ren and his fancy haircut there.
Kylo Ren and his big old
the fro.
The big kind of Zach Braff.
Well, it was like, to me, I was kind of like, did they really give him that for nostalgia?
It kind of showed like the fact that he had wavy hair, kind of like Han Solo. in the originals, and then it kind of matched Leia's hair.
Leia's hair a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, I guess exactly.
Kind of like a pretty boy, you know?
Mm-hmm. Oh, no, definitely, yeah, there was the pretty boy there.
But, you know, I thought that was representing the fact that he's still good, you know? Because most Sith wear masks because they're
disfigured or something wrong with them.
All the time, and it's throughout the lore.
I think for him it was doing it because he wanted so much to emulate Darth Vader that Darth Vader had a mask and had a way of talking, and so I had to be that way too, and it will make me closer to my grandfather, which, yes, they do go into that. Kylo Ren is the grandson of Darth Vader in this new series, and the son of Han Solo and Princess Leia. And
nephew to
Luke Skywalker. Yeah. And his basic storyline for the film was he was a young Jedi, obviously being the son of Leia, and Luke took him in to train him, and a new generation of Jedi. They're going to train them all. Luke had rebuilt a new Jedi temple to start teaching and bringing the Jedi back to the galaxy. And Kylo Ren, being seduced by Supreme Leader Snoke, turned on Luke and killed the Jedi and destroyed the temple. And because of that, Luke...
Well, not just Kylo Ren, because they mentioned...
Yeah, he had like a bunch of
the Ren Knights.
The Ren Knights.
Yeah, the Knights of Ren.
Knights of Ren.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So, like, he got a group to turn on Luke and destroy
the Jedi Temple,
everything he made.
And which then pushes Luke to go into hiding. He makes a little map and breaks it apart so no one can find him, and he disappears. No one can find him. Leia can't find him. Han can't find him. So everyone kind of goes back to their lives and figures Luke's just missing. He's gone into like a quiet depression about
Luke goes into exile.
Yeah.
Leia and Han Solo relationship breaks down, and they just go back to what they were good at. You know?
She was a good leader. He was a good smuggler.
Yeah. And
that's when you kind of meet those characters. That's where you re-enter their lives again in this film, which I liked. And first thing was seeing Harrison Ford back on screen with Chewbacca standing next to him when they walk on the Millennium Falcon. He says, "Chewie, we're home." Absolute joy. I felt absolute joy, and I was a little kid again watching Star Wars. Yeah. And in that moment, and seeing first for that split second, and then I looked at him again and said, "Good God, has time passed?"
Yeah.
I'm not. I mean, yes, Harrison Ford is older, but he did not play grumpy old angry Harrison Ford is just playing Han Solo. I mean, Han Solo was there again.
Yeah.
And it was Han Solo is an old man who's a little grouchy.
Oh my God.
But you could still feel that kind of youthful fire in him at parts.
Throughout that whole entire sequence, it goes into, "Oh, we're home," and then he looks down and finds
Ray and Finn hiding in the ship. Yeah.
And then they go into escaping first, and then they start talking, and then you see the Ray go, "You're that Han Solo?"
Han Solo on top with the rebellion
fanboy. Yeah. And that's what got me the most was like, hey, they know what Han Solo I know.
Yeah.
And
they know the rebellion, they know about the fight with...
And it's all myths to them right
yeah.
now. You know? Or legends.
Legends.
You know?
It's all legends to them. Like, it would be like meeting like your favorite baseball player that you grew up hearing about. They retired by the time you really were aware of them.
And then you get into the grouchy part with him. She's going, "Oh, you ran blah 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 for 14 parsecs," and he's like, he mumbles to himself, "It's 12 parsecs."
Yeah. And there's this sweet little moment, just a very quick, brief little moment where he walks back into the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon, and you see him kind of touch the door frame, and he just stands there and absorbs it, and you can see this little smile come across his face. And I don't know how much of that was character, and how much of that was Harrison coming back.
Yeah, because I was going to say, for him to come back inside the Millennium Falcon, that would have been
beautiful. Shot
that was great. Yeah, it really was.
I loved it. And seeing Carrie Fisher back again as Princess Leia, when she lands down and comes out of the ship, and Han's there waiting for her, I just started crying for two reasons. One, it's Han and Leia back again together, and two, this was like one of my first... Wow! Okay, that could be why. But it was like, you're an ass. This is one of my first crushes on film. Like, watching a movie when you're really young. And, obviously everyone, Disney princess is always pretty. But to have the Star Wars princess that you grew up watching and see how much time has progressed and whatnot.
She let herself go.
Wow, you're mean.
I'm just saying, they were showing that perspective. Yeah, this was coming out. They have all the photos of her with the original trilogy, and her, especially in the slave outfit, and you're like, oh my god, like. And then you watch this movie, and you're like, oh my god. Not to be an asshole, but yeah. And they really did show. Yeah, they really did show them age, though. You know.
Well, I would hope so.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, you kind of have to. But I mean, it was just so. It felt like it's finally happened. I mean, this is really a Star Wars movie again because these characters are back again on screen, and they've accepted it that the time has passed. They didn't recast and try to keep young Han Solo and young Princess Leia. We kept our original actors from the films and said we're catching up with them in real time.
Yeah, no, that's and definitely that is another thing too. It gets you, like I was going with nostalgia, all that stuff. You won't be able to get that feeling unless you see the actors in the original cast come back. I wish that was the same with a lot of films that I follow, but you get those rare movies like of course Star Wars where you've got the cast saying, "Hey, let's really want to do this again. Let's be a part of it."
Because like when you were talking earlier, Lord of the Rings, and even some of the guys from Lord of the Rings transitioned over into the Hobbit films.
Yep.
And it's nice to it makes the continuity feel real. Harry Potter is probably one of the best examples where they kept the same kids for 8 movies.
Yeah,
and the main core cast was 8 movies.
Yeah,
there's Dumbledore because Richard Harris passed away.
Things like Spider-Man where they change up characters.
And Crabbe and Goyle.
Yeah, and Crabbe and Goyle because one got arrested.
And he changed black.
Yeah,
one of them.
Who do you think was the kind of like? Because honestly, I think between the two, BB-8 and R2-D2, who kind of? Because I'll tell you right now, BB-8's got a lot more. He's got a lot more personality than
I think he does
R2-D2.
have a lot more personality.
And I mean,
and I don't know if that's due to the writing or what they can do.
Well, the BB-8 is a lot more agile. He shows off a lot more in the film.
Yeah, he can do a lot. He's got a lot of secret stuff that he can do.
He doesn't have to say one thick English, but he's comical.
Yeah,
his character is comical. I like the fact that was another thing too with the film is that it wasn't like we were talking earlier with the other older films. It's like with politics. This one. It was actually comical while telling a serious story. They put a serious tone on the story, but they still have comic relief that fits the setting.
And it does in the right places.
Right. It doesn't take you away from that serious pace. You can be like, and it's like you were talking about modern dialogue, but even when they had those comical moments, it wasn't like, I just completely forgot what was going on in the scene. It's not like that.
It fit the scene.
It fit the scene. It fit the flow of the 5 minutes that they were probably talking in a conversation.
It was really funny because I watched this down in TJ, right? But I watched it sub, so it was sub Spanish.
Very proud of that.
So.
He's so proud.
And I saw it before you, motherfucker.
Shut up!
I saw it in English.
I saw it in English too. It was just sub Spanish. So, but I don't think the humor
translates.
It might have translated, but they were busy reading it too because I was the only one laughing.
So you laugh and then like 4 seconds later, everybody else laughs.
Yeah, then it clicks. Like delayed reaction.
So it was really weird to see that, but it was also cool too at the same time. Like with a lot of the comedy, like when they're outside, Chewie says it makes a smart-ass comment about being cold.
Yeah.
I'm laughing my ass off because it's funny, and then like 10 seconds later, a few other people
kind of get it themselves.
One thing,
but it's just because they did something funny and then it progressed, so it didn't take away at all.
The nice thing too is we kind of are on the comedy subject. We're jumping around with the characters here, but
of course.
And Kylo Ren, the funny thing that they did to his character is that he's got. I don't know if you want to call them mental breakdowns, but he goes on a tangent.
Yeah, he's a little bitch. He is. He's a little whiny bitch.
He's an angry kid.
No, he is. And then
Anakin Skywalker was.
Right. When you see those tantrums, you can say it's like, hey, he's still kind of childish, whatever. I mean, just even even in their what was it again? Death.
Star Destroyer.
Star Destroyer?
Yeah.
They had a scene where he's having a tantrum, and then you see the stormtroopers walking in the hallway.
Yes.
Notice the stormtroopers are like, hey, he's having a tantrum again.
No. He literally, one sticks his hand out to stop the other one.
Yeah.
And they look up and they see a sparks flying
coming out of the room.
And they just both turn around and walk away. It was one of the best little subtitle scenes to watch.
Yeah, and the other thing too is that they all know. Like, even the guy that was delivering the bad news to Kylo Ren, he's like, I don't want to say this because there's going to be another trouble.
But also the way he uses the Force was so aggressive, too. Because, I mean, it did to the point where he didn't even have to think about it. Best show of that was at the beginning when Poe Dameron is given the map to find Luke Skywalker. and the stormtroopers come down and they try to capture him. And Poe starts shooting at them. And Kylo Ren is there on the ground. Mm-hmm. And he stops him, uses a force hold on him. Mm. And not only does he stop Poe Dameron, but he stops the laser blast coming out of the gun. And it sits there. It sits there for the entire dialogue scene, all the way up until Kylo leaves that shot. Mm-hmm. And then it goes. And finally hits whatever it was going towards.
I also liked it because they expanded on the Force and what they can do, too.
Right.
Yeah.
Because all the other films, you don't see a freaking Sith doing that or a Jedi. You know?
It's force holds and pushes and chokes and throwing shit around. Yeah, and Jedi mind tricks. But they expanded on Jedi mind tricks. Not only can they do mind tricks, which Rey does on the Star Destroyer, but even being able to read someone's mind to see what they saw, which is what Kylo does to both Poe Dameron and to Rey on the Star Destroyer.
Mister, I thought it's brainwash. Over here, he thought that scene was brainwashing, and I was just standing there going,
I didn't see that.
I know. I'm like, hey, I was just sitting there going, oh my god, go see it soon, please. It was just funny because I know it was your thoughts, the thought process, which I could see that, but after watching the film, it was like, no, that's not what that is.
Again, it's just, I was theorizing what the heck's going on. Because, it's... like, I knew before that they're not doing the whole clone thing. So, how did they get their army? Why do they have followers? Well,
they talk about they
stole little kids.
They defend themselves as, I was stolen from my family. They get them very young. And even when they're looking up, the stormtrooper who had helped the resistance fighter escape Star Destroyer, they pull up his file and you see a picture of a little kid who looks probably no more older than 3 years old. Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, this is how young they're getting them, since we don't do a clone army. And they even kind of threaten the clone army.
Yeah.
At one point,
would be better.
I think General Hux has someone question his authority, saying, well, we can just make a clone army. He's like, my soldiers are trained right. And
it was Rey.
It was Rey. Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren was threatening we could just make a clone army and have no problems at all.
Yeah. So
questioning his authority.
That's that was another thing too, because even I was like, well, the whole clone army, if they're just going to repeat that, I was kind of like, eh. But no, they did a different approach. These are all,
and you can hear even in the dialogue between the stormtroopers, there's men, there's women, there's different people.
Yeah, that's the other thing too, is that they finally have a bit more of that,
diversity
in the stormtroopers.
Ranks,
it's not the stormtroopers all sound the same.
Yeah,
but actually, here's the other thing. I know with stormtroopers, there's usually always one sound effect in every Star Wars movie. Mm-hmm. The Wilhelm. Where was that?
It was in there. It was the Wilhelm scream is a tradition in a lot of Lucasfilm productions, like Willow, like the Indiana Jones series, like Star Wars. It was in there when Poe Dameron and Finn escape in the TIE fighter in the hangar, and they're shooting. So there's a wide shot of the TIE fighter trying to pull loose from the cable. You can hear it in there.
Okay, Yes,
the Wilhelm scream is still in the Star Wars movie.
All right,
they kept it in there.
Now, the other thing, too, just like I kind of think we've gone over a bunch of the things that we were planning to talk about. Who is the old man that knows Kylo Ren in the beginning of the film?
I do not know.
Because...
That's actually probably the only thing that I don't know in this film.
Was he... Jedi? Was he like a retired Jedi?
I don't think he was a Jedi because even in the opening crawl, they mentioned an old friend of General Leia.
Oh,
and she said her best pilot to go meet an old friend who might have like information about where Luke went missing.
Someone in the
maybe he was part of the Senate. Maybe he was part of the Republic. Maybe
also who was Leia's caregivers when she was? No, because they died when Alderaan blew up. That's right. Okay.
So they could not have been them. I'm thinking it was someone in the Republic because they really addressed the Republic helping the Resistance against the First Order.
That's right.
So I'm thinking he was someone who was part of the Republic.
All right, so
who's Snoke?
Snoke, I think is going to be like the Emperor again, the Man in the Shadows.
I mean, like
the what species?
He's all kinds of jacked up, man. Like half his skull's caved in.
Yeah.
Like, who is he? Like, is he one of like the older Sith?
He's
like, where did he come?
Well, there's honestly
they didn't say that.
One theory I keep hearing from people is that he might be like Darth Plagueis, like one of the older, more powerful Sith who trained up the Emperor Palpatine and such, and that maybe
because the way Sith work is there's always two, and for you to become the master, you usually kill your
master.
You're always you kill your master.
There's only it's the order of two.
Yeah.
Because otherwise,
and then
if there's a third, two will gang up on the third and kill them.
Yeah. So.
Well, okay. The big one that we have not talked about is you told me that when we talked about it the other night, you saw it coming, and I had it spoiled for me by a dick, and it really took away.
It's a big dick.
It was a big dick. He is a big dick. While in the moment, it took away that anticipation for me. Seeing it on film, my heart was racing because I knew it was coming, and when it happened, it was probably one of the few times I've really heavily cried in a movie. Is when they kill.
You might. Well, I was about to say it was you might want to say spoiler right before that. But
we said spoiler at the beginning.
I know we said spoiler.
Once again, this show is full of spoilers.
I'm just saying we were kind of vague in some of our explanation, but that one's pretty straightforward. Yes. For me, I did see that coming. I mean, sympathizing for their son, Solo and Leia. It's kind of like it was kind of
because a lot of the theories was it's either Chewie or Han gets killed off.
Okay,
and a lot of the memes was if we see if Chewie dies in this movie, you're going to see full grown men.
Oh no, Chewie is going to die.
I think Chewie will die.
Chewie will die.
In these films. I think he will.
He got shot in the arm. That's kind of like an indication that he's not invincible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In the first Star Wars films, these guys are never touched.
Well,
not just Luke, but like
Leia got hit.
She got hit in Return of the Jedi. Wow. Why?
But what I'm saying is usually the main.
Your main cast.
Main cast
but I think
does not get touched.
With the way more films are being made nowadays, and I think one of the biggest breakers of that rule would have to be Psycho from 1960. When the whole premise of Psycho was they're showing you that the Janet Leigh character, Marion Crane, is the lead character of this film, and this is the person you're going to follow. And then 28 minutes into that movie, they kill her off, and you're like, "Oh shit! Anyone can go." And I think that's kind of happened now with Star Wars.
Well, it kind of is because it's like The Walking Dead, you know.
Walking Dead did it for a long time.
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones does it. Yeah, the entire first season was.
So that's the new promoted. Yeah, that's the new trend now. Like your main cast is they're expendable.
Yeah. I mean, expendable to the point that it serves the story, and it did serve the story. Him dying did serve the story.
And it made Kylo Ren full dark.
Yeah, I think it really did help push him. I think for himself in that moment, it made him full dark. But I think his fight later with Rey was still maybe him trying to be a good person again.
Well, the other thing too,
maybe, or at least trying to.
No.
Because he could have just killed her.
I was going to say.
He was strong enough to just kill her.
Okay, he was. Okay, the other thing, too, if you notice in the fight, he didn't really use the Force against Rey.
No.
He remember the scene?
Aside when he threw her up in the tree. Well, yeah, that was it.
Okay, take this example. When he first captures Rey, what does he do? He makes her stop. Mm-hmm. He stops her completely. He stops her, yeah. When he fights her, it's a straight-on sword fight. There is no use of Force in that fight.
Because I think he's also thinking, hey, she's really good.
We can use that.
Let me try to
that is true. He did.
And he even offered it.
Yeah, he did offer
make you so much better.
Yeah.
You don't know what... You're just scraping.
And he realized, because he's talking with the stormtroopers, when she escapes on the Star Destroyer, he's like, the longer it takes you to find her, the more dangerous she becomes. Yeah. Because she's learning to use her powers now. She's learning what she can do.
Which is really cool, because he starts trying to get her thoughts, right, at that one scene, and she starts fighting back and doing it back to him. Oh, you're never going to be good as your grandfather, And then she practiced it on the stormtrooper. You will take off these bracelets and leave. You said, what?
Drop your weapon.
And drop your weapon. That was great. So that, I think he was testing her with the lightsaber, and she's never used one.
Yeah.
The other thing too, I was going to say, is killing off Han Solo. I don't think that was a full. I don't think that put Kylo in his full
dark side.
Dark side, because the other thing too is, like, as I mentioned to you, it's like when Anakin became full dark side, he has a character one of his transition is his eyes.
Yeah.
And the other thing too, look at Senator Palpatine's eyes; they were also the same.
And Darth Maul,
also the same. The only one is Dooku. Dooku is the one I'm kind of curious about. Like, I don't think he was a full Sith. He was more of, like, the theory that you had was that he was a Jedi that agrees or kind of wants to be with the dark side, but he wasn't fully dark. He was just kind of like that, hey, I'm powerful, the dark side's powerful, I'm going to be part of the dark side. So that was kind of the theory on Dooku, and yeah, he obviously got killed off. So did Maul. Well, he did. But yeah, my thing was, I don't think Kylo Ren's fully dark yet, because even at the end, Supreme Leader Snoke, he says it's like it's time for him to finish his training. Kind of like he's not
quite there
with us just yet.
Younglings, yeah.
He killed all the baby Jedi.
Because the other thing too is, like, even his confrontation with Han Solo, he's like, I'm being torn apart. Now the thing is, yes, he could be a deceiving character, of course, but if he really wanted Han Solo dead, he would have just killed him right then and there.
I don't think he did. I think it actually was a struggle for him.
Yeah. It was a struggle for him, right?
For him to feel the peace that he needed.
That's why I don't think he's not fully dark. No. And then,
my God, did I bawl like a baby in that scene.
I got home after he watched the movie, and I walk in and I hear him, and he's like. And I like, what the hell's going on? Who's here? And then I just see him, and he's just standing there. And you could tell he was crying and shit. I was like, you watched the movie, didn't you?
So, I think...
I honestly thought Chewie took himself out. With the
detonators? Yeah. For a second, you thought Chewie's like, fuck this! We're all going down together! Right. He pops that detonator.
And you're like, in the theater, it's like, oh, where's Chewie? Where's Chewie? Oh my God, where's Chewie? Did he seriously just take himself? Did we just lose Han and Chewie? No! You bastard! You already took my heart out. It was to step on it.
It was rough because Chewie got to do what I couldn't do in the theater, and when he lets out that kind of wail of anguish and anger and sadness, you're like, oh, that just broke my heart. You're like, no, that's what I want to do too.
And
but
just goes and he starts shooting, and then
he starts killing. And then he shoots Kylo Ren. He immediately shoots him right in the side. He's like, you bastard! You killed my best friend.
I don't care.
That's what you hope your dog does if you ever get hurt by a stranger.
Grabs a crossbow laser gun. And
yes, I want. If we could have Jackie's dogs, Oolong and Hazel. If she gets hurt, they're gonna grab crossbows and shoot people.
It'd be a sight to see.
It would, and I would pay to see it.
My thing is, the movie's been... It's definitely got a lot to talk about. It's a lot of fun.
Oh my God.
It really flows very well. I like the classical feel. We've obviously... You can hear us. We've had a lot of...
We've got a lot of fun, a lot of different ideas and opinions and
I will admit, it's like, I would not mind seeing it a second time.
Let's go see it again.
It did break some records in its opening weekend, its opening day and opening weekend. Of course, passed up Jurassic World. However, I'm and this is my prediction, but your prediction in numbers, do you think Star Wars, and I'm not asking you, is Star Wars Episode 7 good or bad? Do you think, because there's a lot of hype around it right now, that Star Wars Episode 7, will it pass up Jurassic World in overall box office numbers? Will it become number 3 in the top film box office grossing film?
I think if we went off numbers just domestically, yes, in a heartbeat overall. But since we have to take in the global box office as well, which globally it made over $500 million already just this weekend.
Damn. I'm just saying,
globally,
it's already, Star Wars is huge.
Yeah. No, Star Wars is huge.
Star Wars is huge.
So if it's made that much,
but if you look at the way marketing was done here compared to the way how it was done overseas,
yes, exactly.
It was done a lot harder overseas to really sell Star Wars.
It really was.
I mean, you don't have to sell Star Wars to American audience. Star Wars is American pop culture.
Well, for you mentioned at the beginning of this, it's like you went into there with a little bit of doubt.
I did, but you still don't have to. If you can go up to someone in their 60s and say,
yeah, true.
"Do you know Star Wars?" And they can tell you, "Yeah, I've seen it, or I know it, or I've heard about it." Mm-hmm. It's part of American pop culture. And you can go up to a little kid who's maybe 12 years old, and they might know Star Wars because they got it from their father.
Right.
Or from their grandfather who saw it.
There's still some people that haven't seen Star Wars.
There's no Star Wars.
They're like, no, they haven't seen any of it.
Oh, fuck that.
And, like...
We can't be friends.
Yeah. I work with a couple of them. They're like 30. I was like, what the hell's the matter with you? Go watch it.
Usually from my encounters with those that haven't seen Star Wars, they've heard of it, of course. Yeah. They're all fascinated with books. Like, it's like, oh, I can read the book and just get the story just as well as you. It's like, there's a thing of your imagination kind of pulling something from a book, and then there's another thing of actually seeing it on the screen, and that's the movie experience.
Aragon sucked.
As a film or as a book?
They did a horrible job. My imagination was better.
The one thing I will say, and it's like you were talking about shitty films right now, I'm glad that Hunger Games got put back down again, because that film was...
It's just, what's that Japanese anime? Battle Royale. It's just Battle Royale.
Did you see the live action Battle Royale?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, you said anime.
Well, it was an anime.
Oh, okay. But
it was a manga.
Yeah.
Then they transitioned into a film.
So potentially it has enough.
It's got more than enough steam behind it to, I think, tie, if not surpass, Jurassic World.
If it surpasses Avatar and Titanic, I will be happy. I will be happy. Those films, I don't see why those... Well, anyway, this is going off into a different topic. But
that's fine. But, I mean, like, with Titanic, one reason why, it's a great date film. You get a lot of couples to go to it. Historically, it's relevant because it's a true event.
Yeah.
And cinematically, it pushed a lot of boundaries digitally and effects and such for its time. So you had three key factors there that helped Titanic make the money it did.
Sure.
And you had not quite the same thing with Avatar, but very similar. Avatar was an event film.
Right.
It was very much because...
But, I mean, like, Avatar, the story of Avatar has been told.
The story of Avatar has been
told so many times.
But it's how you tell the story.
Yeah,
that's why it made the money it did.
Yeah.
Because the way it was presented to you, you'd never seen anything like it.
Right.
And so you had to see it to see, what the hell is this? So you have the title of Avatar, you have these big blue fucking cats walking around who are one with nature. You're like, I gotta see this movie.
The one thing, too, with Avatar, as you remember, I
with everything.
started this whole thing... Well, I said there's exaggerated and specific storytelling. Avatar is a bit more specific. And I think that's one of the reasons why people were able to get captivated by it. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by specific... Okay. On the world of Pandora, the humans have to use the breathing apparatus in order to survive. But yet they're harvesting an essential resource for their... technological gain.
Well, we used to do that in coal mines. You couldn't breathe down there, but we...
No, but I mean, the storytelling, it's not exaggerated. Mm-hmm. It's specific. Mm-hmm. It gives you that, even though we're humans, we still have to do this.
Well, that's also based on the writing. James Cameron is a very specific writer. He's very much a perfectionist in his filmmaking.
This goes into Tommy being, liking movies realistic, though. this is what this is. I'm sorry.
You don't see me talking about the physics of the X-Wing or talking about
that was one of the things. I was like, I bet you one of the things Tommy's going to bitch about is when the planet explodes, right? And they're escaping. He's going, that's not physically possible. That was one of the things.
Well, you know what's sweet all for everyone is Dark Knight Rises. We'll go into that conversation another time. But anywho,
some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.
To me, the film was great. It was fun. I mean, for me, it's gonna fall between an 8 and 9. I'd say overall, I'm 7.4. I was playing. But I think a good, because the storytelling, just the way the flow of the film is, the amount of balance between the drama, the action, the comedy, it was good. I'm gonna say, yeah, probably I'll probably say about 8.4, 8.5. Okay. So 8.4, 8.5.
Being probably the biggest Star Wars fan at the table right now. Yeah.
I'd say a 9. It's a solid 9 for me. You know, it wasn't perfect, but it was 9. I liked it. It really did honor the original 3. Mm-hmm. And you still got the original, you know, Joseph Campbell's progression of the
story, the hero's journey.
Hero's journey, and then they threw it in a different way. And the fact that they hid the actual main character, and you get to secretly watch her progress to be, you know, this big, the one. Mm-hmm. You know, this is the one.
Well, that's something really quick before I give my final number on this. We didn't actually talk about. We're going to do it really quick. The end of the film is Rey going off to find Luke Skywalker, and she finds him, and he's alone by himself in isolation, as we said earlier. He went off into isolation to the first Jedi Temple. And we get this lovely little moment where she goes and finds him, and she presents him with his lightsaber. Now, when I say his lightsaber, I mean the lightsaber given to him in Star Wars Episode 4: A New Hope, which
is Anakin
Skywalker's lightsaber, which last time you saw it was in Empire Strikes Back when it was cut off along with his hand by Darth Vader. And Maz had it with her, and she said she had it for a while. She got it, and how? I don't know. I really don't care.
Yeah.
It makes sense that something like that would get lost to time and be found again by someone else. And that it called to Rey is basically a way of the Force calling, and that's why they call it the Force Awakens. The Force awakened into someone, and that person was Rey. And she was the one chosen by the lightsaber, very much kind of like Excalibur, calling to Arthur to be the one to choose it. And when she takes it and brings it to Luke, and you see Luke just kind of standing there, just kind of in the robes. They don't even really show him, and he turns around and he just takes his little hood off, and you see old man Luke Skywalker very much now, I'm hoping, playing the Ben Kenobi role of the master with the apprentice. Mm-hmm. And for a split second, I said to myself, oh my god, it's Mark Hamill. He was on The Flash. He does the voice of the Joker. He was in the original Star Wars. And then the next shot of him, that's Luke Skywalker. Like, it's not even Mark Hamill anymore.
I was the same way when I saw it.
There's Luke Skywalker again. And he gives this little slight nod of his head of, like, apprehension and acceptance. So, like, if I have to go down this road, we're doing it differently again. And it just made me love it. And I love the end of the film with that. And I can't wait to see where they go with it. Because I wanted him to show up about 20 minutes earlier in the snow and fight Kylo Ren. That's what
I was.
When Kylo was trying to pull the lightsaber out of the snow and it flies past him, I'm hoping it flies right into Luke Skywalker's hand.
What I was
like, come on, bitch! That's what I wanted to see.
Yeah. So,
but obviously they had grander plans, and it worked out.
I've heard so many complaints about the ending, though. And it's a bunch of young kids, though. It's like, you know what? I was like, dude, are you kidding me? Like, this is how it should end. This was perfect.
What happens when you put in... Like, you got Hollywood today making all these remakes and reboots and everything. They're making it for the younger generation. Like, there's so many things, like, even when I was going to high school, the class after me, they were listening to all this whiny, bitchy music. And I was like, that's the generation after my year of class is a bunch of whiny bitches. Yeah. I was like this is like new age punk rock and like. I mean, literally, when I see South Park and I see the emo kids dancing, I'm like, that was the class that was after me in high school.
It's just they were whining about it. I was like, no, guys, like this is where you end. You just reached your climax in the story, and you're descending. You find the master. Then you can continue. With her.
That's how you know how to tell a story. Obviously, it's not just that you know how to tell a story. It's that's the storytelling based upon the old classic.
Well, these motherfuckers should have seen this.
But
they should be used to it.
Well, honestly, when I saw it last night, I was with my parents at the theater, and next to me were two kids. These are the reclining chairs that are nice, and one of them was dicking around with the chair.
Oh.
And yeah. You know I'm going with this.
No, I know.
And it was right at the scene where Han Solo dies. So emotionally, I'm already invested. I'm back in that moment again. And in my ear is this little prick playing with the damn seat. And I almost turned and smacked him and said, knock that shit off. I came so close, but his dad was right down there in front of me. Like, I would die. But could you blame me? Yeah. This kid was probably about 13 years old, 12 years old.
Oh, hell yeah, I would have.
I was on the edge of hitting him.
Show some respect.
It's Star Wars, damn it! You don't dick around in the theater?
Or yell at his mother. Teach your son some manners.
Right? What was... Okay.
So, overall, though, my ranking would probably be 8.9 on this film. It's not a perfect film.
8.9?
8.9. I'm
Jesus Christ.
Shut up.
That's a 9.
Screw you.
Like, to you, it's a solid 9. But...
He usually is a solid 9.
There are things that you gotta factor in. I mean, it's good storytelling. I'm not saying that it's bad or anything. It's just,
it's very minute things that keep me from giving it a 9 or a 10.
Right.
Very, very minute things.
Yeah.
Things that overall I can look past.
Right.
And I think eventually in time, as this film gets older to me, and as I revisit it again and again over time, it will probably go higher on my list.
Because
my ranking.
Because when it comes to ranking too, it's like you got 3 Star Wars movies. When you're thinking of giving it an 8 or giving it a 9, giving it a 10, it's like, are you going to say Star Wars Episode 7, 8, and 9 are all perfect 10s? Then does that mean 7 is better, 8 is better, or 9 is better? Is Episode 4 better? Episode 1?
Then you start rating them together.
That's part of the numbering system too.
Well, for me, it's still
it's Empire, up there as far as storytelling.
New Hope.
But I'm just going to say...
Then Force Awakens.
You're retarded.
I didn't know. All right, that's not Star Wars watching. Shut up, screw you.
I know.
As with every podcast, we always kind of watch a movie while we do this show. Tonight we're watching Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves from 1991, directed by Kevin Reynolds.
Is that Alan Rickman?
With Kevin Costner, Alan Rickman.
Hello.
Yeah. Hello, I am Alan Rickman. Yeah. It's one of those fun, almost guilty pleasure films, because everyone knows it's cheesy and over the top at parts. But it's still just so fun to watch. It's one I've always remembered seeing.
Fuck, though.
Yeah, this is the extended cut.
Yeah, it is. It's long. It's extended.
It's extended edition,
longer than the last.
They go into a little more depth with it in some parts. So that's our film for the night.
Uh-huh.
As with every podcast, do you have any questions, comments, or if you have something you'd like to put forward and say where we're wrong or where we're right, please leave in the comment sections. If you like this video, if you like our audio, bring it. Yeah, Wiki is ready. He will fight you. I mean that. I mean, he will get on the comments board and fight you.
He'll debunk every little plot hole that you throw in the movie. If you find a plot hole, Will's going to say, it's like, we'll give you a whole breakdown. You'll need to bring your notepad and stuff, because this will be a long one.
So if you like this video, please like us. Please share us on your Facebook page, on your Twitter account, on Instagram, wherever the hell you social media. Please bring us with you and hold our hand. This has been the CineMunn Podcast.
Don't hold my hand!
Shut up. Once again with Time Metropolis.
Yep.
And Wiki Wickwire.
Yeah.
I am Vince Munn. We will see you next time.